what we would find as we went along is we would find that once we went at them in such a way, you know, in a frontal attack, as we did, once we would seize, if we would attack that strong point, what they would do eventually is they would flee out the back, and this would become, and then move to the next strong point. And this would become a challenge. It's a challenge because here's this young Marine, and you're against. You've blown the breaches in the walls. You've got the breach in. They make the run. You're making the run, and here's these guys fleeing. But what is that Marine going to do? He won't run after him. Well, now he's being backshot. That controls that the squad leaders wore, the fire team leaders, they've got to control and hold on to their young Marines. And they did well. And they got better and better and better at it as the fight progressed. Strong points, as I told you, interesting. 2 to 3 stories, courtyard, spider holes. Each one of the enemy soldiers in the spider hole had a B-40 rocket launcher, RPG, and an AK-47, you know. And what we would have to do is artillery was just not available. We had artillery available, but there were no Willie Peter rounds, you know. It was just, I'll tell you what, I crawled into attics. I tried to call artillery by sound. It doesn't work. It's just, you know, without that spot. But what the battalion commander did, when Ernie did, was he pulled in all the 60 mortars from the companies, took his 81s, and created a mortar platoon. Put them in the Way University in the courtyard. And they literally became our close support as we seized block by block. No such thing as danger close. One day, golf company, the CEO had come up, you know, we're about to go after the next go, and I'm, you know, a Lance Corporal again, is my FO. So I called for the Willie Peter round, you know, to start striking this next one. Where's that Willie Peter round? He says, oh, you know, hit in behind us. Add 50. You know, boom, okay. No, you know, but you had to do that so that when you seized the building, when you did the run, you made your run, you hammered until you got the gut feeling. Okay, the time to go. Yeah, you know. Then what you did is you just shifted the mortars into the next block, so they were now running through it. Dissuaded your troops from running after them, but now you were, you know, you created that. And as Cheatham would say afterwards, we probably had the best 82 millimeter, 81 millimeter mortars possible. In other words, so many rounds had been fired through those 81 millimeter mortars, they were probably 82 now, and that's so very true. So we would seize, you know, block by block. You'd get a strong point. Interestingly, in the fight, because I talked to earlier about the fatigue, it really was a gentleman's war. We started the attack at 7 in the morning, and by 1700, we were spent, and he was spent, you know, and you kind of regroup for the next day. As you're going, you know, you're taking this block by block. All the time, we're looking up, and in front of the big courtyard of the province capital is a flagpole, and it's got a Viet Cong flag flying. And it was just a taunt. It really was. One of our next major objectives was the hospital. And the 3 company commanders always kid about this, because in this case, we were able to get online with all 3 companies. But we really laughed about this because, you know, one guy got the contagion ward, I got the leprosy ward. You know, you really knew where you sat with the battalion commander. You know, one of the things that we did find was that we had, as you uncovered people who had hidden and whatever, we did gain some immediate human intelligence. And we were told that in the hospital, there were Viet Cong posing as patients in beds. our Marines were alert to that. And in fact, there were several firefights in that regard that would occur. But I think the one that was the most unusual, young Marine coming down the ward, here comes what he thought was a Catholic nun, black habit. All of a sudden the habit skirt came up and it was an AK-47. Unfortunately, the Marine was faster and turned out to be a Viet Cong. You know, as we're moving up to take the hospital thing, there is a strong point. It's a large it's a large building, again a courtyard complex with walls and the like. By this time, we had some tanks in support. Like all good Marines, you use whatever available. Believe it or not, there was a tank platoon from the 3rd Marine Division that had not yet moved north and got caught in that area. And I had a tank available, and we had several tanks available for the rest of the outfit. People will tell you that you can't use, armor in the city. That's bull. You can use any weapon in the city, but you have to protect it. You have to use it in a way that it's most beneficial. So we would bring our tank up, back it into a building, and hold until you needed a tank. Because when you need a tank, nothing else will do. Well, we went up against this strong point. I thought we had it, quite frankly. Had blown the breaches. Second platoon runs in, they get into the building. Well, they're being backshot now. They're in a tough situation. Now, fortunately, they're in the building. They've gotten into this building, but it's a bad situation. I didn't have a good idea of where the enemy was, and that's always a challenge, especially in the city. You got to find the vantage point where you can determine where he is, where his weapons are coming from, where his strength is. So what I did was I raced through the breach, raced across however many meters into the building. I was able then to look back and realize what was there. Then I raced back. I was able to bring up the tank. I got on the back of the tank because everything was broken, so I'm talking down into the turret. We rolled the tank out. We were able to blow away several of the breaches and that, and then I was able to jump off the tank and then bring the rest of the company, and then we were through building with hand-to-hand combat. We just were able to clear that entire strong point, which was really a critical one in that it kind of was almost like the keystone, of their defenses. So that's kind of how that all came about, and later on I would be recognized for that.